baby. I'm a buddy. He's a dude.
And I'm a dude, and he's a buddy.
Oh, we're on the road today, Danny.
We sure are. We're here in lovely Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. We're doing this from a hotel room. We got a very special guest, a great friend, one of the great Canadian comics, Squirrely Dan from Letterkenny. Ladies and gentlemen, Trevor Wilson.
How's it going, boys?
Oh, it's always a pleasure in the presence of you, my friend.
The king.
The man of the mountain of a man, Trevor Wilson.
Yeah, buddy. It's fucking thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, that was easy. You know, I'm in the same hotel.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm doing some opening spots for K-Trev this weekend at Cap City Comedy.
Cap City.
Danny dropped by, did some guest spots. Been a good time. Have you enjoyed the weekend so far?
Yeah, so far so good. Can't complain. People of Austin have been great as usual.
Yeah.
And first time at Cap City, but hoping it's not the last time.
No, it's a good club.
Good time there, yeah.
I don't think it will be your last time from the performances you've been putting on.
Staff's been really great, and thanks so much, Danny. Yeah, it's been fun shows.
It's a great hour that you're running right now.
Oh, thanks, bud.
I really like it. It's
Loud
very funny.
pops, big claps, and some good old belly busters for sure.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of watching it a few times in Florida, where we were in Florida last month.
That's right, in sunny Naples.
Sunny Naples, Florida. Now we're in kind of like overcast Austin, but
I'm not complaining about it.
It's a good town. It's a good town, man. All right, so Trevor, we're going to do our little mental health check-in here.
Sounds good.
Okay, and then we're going to throw to you, and we're going to get you to do yours. How's that? Go ahead, Danny.
Good. I will start with I'm feeling great. I'd say I'm hovering probably around an 8 because there's always rooms for improvement. There's a couple times where, you get a little discouraged and stuff like that, just being on the road itself, kind of missing home and, the regular routine. But all in all, I'd say it's a beautiful time here. Everyone says that we were going to get scorched with 40-degree weather, but the overcast has kind of made it enjoyable. So all around, I got good company, got good friends, and it's always fun to be in Austin. So I'd say I'm around an 8.
That's very nice, Danny. I think I might be sitting around an 8 this week too.
I sure hope so. You've been fluttering around 5.5s a lot on our check-ins.
I've been getting a little low lately.
Okay.
That big apple over there sometimes takes a bite out of you, Kate.
Yeah, it can be draining. It's it's a lot going on in that city. It's hard to find some peace and quiet.
Absolutely, especially in our neighborhood. But so it's nice to be on the road. It's good to be with good people. Danny and I once again do not get a break from one another.
Nope.
But I always like working with UK Trevor, so that's awesome. I like that we've been able to limit the drinking on this trip. We've actually made it to 2 different really cool gyms here in Austin. We're going to check out a third one, so the fact that we've continued to keep up with the physical health keeps that mental health in check. I've been reading in the morning. I've been hopping in the pool. Things are good, man. I think I'm around an 8, Danny.
I agree with
Shows
that.
have been good, too. Shows have been a fucking blast.
You've been very happy.
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
I guess I'll say I'm at an 8. All
right.
I'll stick with everybody. No, things are going good. I've been getting a lot of work done and gearing up. I'm in Tacoma next weekend, but then after that, I got a good long stretch at home to recharge my battery, doing a fan expo in Toronto, which is nice because I get to go back to my house every night after that. And then, recharging the battery because in the fall I got the K-Trev and Friends comedy tour going across Canada, doing our first
theater tour.
First soft seat theater tour that I'll be headlining, and then mixed in with that, I'm still coming down to the States and doing my regular club work. I got shows coming up in Raleigh and St. Louis, and in the winter I'll be in Portland, heading back to Portland, Oregon.
That's great.
So I got some good shows, and I'm looking forward to heading back out and hitting some of the cities in Canada I haven't been to in a few years.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them are
not a lot of comedy clubs out there.
And let's be honest, a lot of them are total shitholes, but you can have a good time at them, right? Like good people. It's a lot of good people.
A lot of
Canada.
good people, and lovely scenery. Just about
Hell
everywhere
yeah.
we're going. It's the travel will be nice.
Yeah. To be fair, when I say shitholes, I'm more talking about like the little downtown cores themselves and some of those towns that you find. Canada is nationwide beautiful. Like you're always going to find, if you travel outside of any town or any city, you're going to find a lot of good nature. You're going to find that in Portland as well.
You're not going to find a lot of good nature
Portland's
through Jasper.
a lovely city. No, not anymore.
No,
Jasper
you're not going to find a lot
Jasper
of
has burned to the
Jasper.
ground.
Yeah.
Jasper, Canada. Is it in Alberta?
It's in Alberta.
What a shame, dude.
About
our
3.5
only
hours.
Alberta dates on this tour are Calgary, so I think that'll still be there.
You're good.
Yeah, that will still be there.
You can just warm your hands on the fire when you get there.
Now, I've heard a rumor that you are a person that likes to travel via rail.
I've been known to from time to time.
Train guy.
Big train guy.
I do like the train. Don't do it as much as I used to. But yeah, back in the day, I would often, if I was heading to like Ottawa or Montreal, I would choose the train.
Trains are fucking awesome, but business class on a train is wonderful, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the food's actually really good.
Food's
Business
great.
Class on the train.
Food's better than an airplane.
I've had a nice stuffed pork tenderloin on the Via Rail.
You know what else you
business
get?
class.
A lot of fucking room.
Yeah.
A lot of leg room.
Yeah, I like it when they turn the seats around and you got your face in the other.
Isn't that nice?
Facing the other seater, if no one's sitting there, you can throw your feet up on the seat
Yeah,
adjacent
they got nice
to you.
trays and everything for you,
And
too.
the nice part about taking the train is like it's usually just you and a bunch of old ladies.
Fucking
Yeah,
right.
It's very peaceful,
Yeah.
opposed to if you take the bus, you're in there with a little bit of rambunctious characters.
Yeah, you're not gonna get beheaded on the Via Rail.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
might
You
on
might get-
Greyhound.
Yeah,
might
that's
get
the
a
thing
little-
you got to be worried about on the people thinking you're an alien, chopping your head off and eating
Sure.
part of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And also people who bring their own food from home on the bus because it's never a subtle aroma.
Nothing like
No.
someone just unrolling a bag of 4 soft-boiled eggs.
Yeah, or a big old Tupperware of whitefish.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, at least they're keeping up. They're trying to be healthy if you're
Yeah,
doing
and
that.
you pick exclusively up at the front so you don't have to sit back next to that shit can. And then once they,
Oh, yeah.
open up their white fish, you're like, oh my God.
You ever smoked weed in a bus bathroom?
No, I can't say that.
I've blown a few puffs down a flushing toilet on a
Well,
Greyhound.
sometimes you got to have
Years
that
ago,
little
of course.
sedative.
Yeah, sometimes you got to get through. But
I've,
then you
I've
get
always
nervous.
been able to make it till the scheduled stop.
Yeah, that's healthy.
Yeah.
That's a lot healthier than blowing
Yeah.
weed down a toilet. Yeah, I don't know. K-Trev, we gotta ask you something, or just want to get your opinion on this. So we've been doing this podcast for a little bit. We got some people that are into it. We put up a clip a couple weeks ago. Took a little heat on the internet, right?
Okay.
Like it got some heat on the internet. Did well, okay. But then
Okay,
a lot
so
of the
good
comment.
heat, not
It was
bad
good
heat.
heat. It was
We
good
got
heat.
good heat, but then we got a little
But then
bit
we got a little stink on the heat. Okay.
We got a fine little group of fringe movement kind of talking shit about us.
Yeah, and a lot of them, I got to say, K-Trev, they're your people, and that's what I want to talk to you about. A lot of
all right.
people have popped in because we did a little things on Canadian AI, whatever. Danny and I, you know how we talk. You've known me since I started comedy. You know what I
Yeah.
sound like. You know where I'm
You know
from,
when I
right?
appeared in 2010
You
in
know
Toronto.
what this guy sounds like. We keep taking heat in the comments, people being like, these guys are just fucking ripping off Letterkenny, man. These guys are just trying to be Letterkenny. And I just want to tell them, I'm like, Letterkenny is based on where the fuck I grew up.
Yeah, I
It's
mean-
Ontario, right? It's rural Ontario.
I can sit here confidently and say to the people watching or listening to this podcast that I've known these guys since before there was a Letterkenny, and this is how they talked before that.
Fucking right.
Suck
There
our
it is.
balls.
Yeah, there's a
Suck
reason.
it.
There's a reason that it sounds like Letterkenny, and it's because Letterkenny was a reflection of Canada and the small town Canadian accent, and that's where these boys are from.
That's
So-
from your fucking king.
That's
So
from
that's,
him.
that's why they sound like Letterkenny, because Letterkenny sounds like Canada.
Yeah.
You can get off our bags and stop saying we're stealing Kelso's swag.
And let me say this too. What an honor, because Letterkenny was fucking great.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're not mad at the comparison. It's just a lot of people seem to think Letterkenny came before people spoke that way.
Yeah, no. We didn't create that accent. We reflected that accent.
And you did it wonderfully too.
Squirrely Dan's voice is a combination of hundreds of guys I met over the years doing stand-up in small towns who all came up to you after a show, and they figured they got a really good jokes to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
You guys heard this ones yet? And, I want to talk to you about your comedy skits.
I love it.
There's so many guys. Like when I started doing the show, when like our first table read, because Nathan and Jared already had their characters pretty well established from the web series, so I was the new guy, the new hick, joining that group. And so the things I worked hard on was matching their pacing, because they had a very distinct pacing to that show.
Right.
From the web series, it was that rapid fire, quick, and
we all knew the web series before that happened.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew that web series before.
I
Letterkenny.
discovered
was
it
awesome.
on actually Funny or Die, originally labeled
Yeah, I might've-
Canada as fuck.
That's
Yeah.
what I might have gotten into. Well, it was all over YouTube as
Yeah.
well. But yeah.
But and I mean, it started out as a Twitter page, if we're being honest here. But like I knew I was going to have to match the pacing that the guys had, which was a change from my stand-up pacing, which is as slow as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
Listening to my comedies like watching someone pour molasses. You got to be patient.
But it's delicious if you wait for it.
You wait, but in the end,
wait
there's
for
a
it.
treat.
They're all, the whole fans are sitting there like, and the molasses slowly hits their tongue. They go, ooh.
But the one thing I wanted to do with the Squirrely Dan character that wasn't on the show yet was the guy with all the plurals.
Yes.
Because it's a phenomenon, and it's not just small town Canada. You find it in small town states as well.
Of course. Yeah.
A lot of guys and gals adding
Montana.
extra S's. Use is a big one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like the big small town identifier. If someone says use
Isn't kind
they
of new
probably
around
grew
here.
up in a village or a hamlet.
You know what I've heard too from some people out here in the States is when you talk about it, because just me being on stage and talking about like where I grew up, and I have some jokes about being from like a place where it's all Hicks and everything, and then I'll have Americans come and be like, I didn't realize that there were Hicks in Canada, because they really don't have a fucking gauge for what's going on up there.
Oh, there's a lot of rednecks.
And it's the same. They're a lot like the Texas rednecks. You go to Alberta, where Danny's from, it's a lot of the same types of people. They sound a little different.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like being here,
They still love guns and hate abortion. It doesn't matter if you're in Alberta.
We appreciate abortions.
Okay.
All right, saves us a check.
Well, you ever been to Edmonton? You need them.
Well,
People don't realize that like there's parts of Canada that are further south than parts of America.
Yeah, you were saying that yesterday. What's an example?
Windsor.
I'm born and raised Toronto, and Toronto is further south than Minnesota,
right?
And even parts of Michigan because there's Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, which is parallel to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
Yeah,
they share there's a bridge.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like Michigan, Michigan goes all the way up to Sault Ste. Marie.
A lot of people
were dead.
So I mean, like Sudbury, where we film Letterkenny, is 5 hours north of Toronto, and there's states. There's parts of Michigan that far north, but
did you film it all in Sudbury? Was it all out there?
All pretty much in and around Sudbury.
Yeah,
and a couple of the suburbs. The farm is the oldest working farm in Hamner, Ontario, which is just outside of Sudbury.
Cool.
Well, did you audition for it, or were you handpicked for it?
No, I auditioned for it.
Okay.
I read for it. Had the audition come across my desk. I knew what it was, so I was excited to read for it, and I definitely put my homework into it. Watched all the stuff that was online and for the references, so I knew what I had to keep up with. But I was actually the second choice for Squirrely Dan.
Really?
Squirrely Dan was written for
Boomer Phillips.
No, Dan Petronevich, who played McMurray on the show.
Oh, okay.
So Dan, hence the name Dan, but the Petronevich had previously worked with Kiso on 19-2, which was Kiso's cop drama that he was on out of Montreal.
Okay.
And they became buddies on that. And Petronevich is an incredible storyteller.
Right.
And probably the most like true to life hick of the entire cast. Because Dan lives in Little Britain, Ontario, which is a real small town out in the Kawarthas there.
Yeah.
And like he would literally come up to shoot like right from his house in the bush. Like he showed up when we did the winter scene. And we were supposed to be cutting bush to make room for the snowmobile trail.
Shows up on a 3-wheeler.
Dan brought his own machete.
Yeah.
Fucking right.
Like strapped to his belt.
As he should.
He was like, well, you
Fucking
said
right.
we were going to be cutting bush in this scene, so I figured I should bring some props.
Showed up to set on his own snowmobile, too.
But yeah, so Squirrely Dan was written for Petronevich, and he had like network approval and everything. He was all good to go. And then he got offered a role in Suicide Squad.
Oh,
which was filming in Toronto around the same time.
Yep.
And so he had that and some personal commitments, so he had to step back. And then I was choice number 2. I was, kind of the producers knew me more than Kiso, and Jacob knew me, and they were like, if you're looking for Canadian storytellers, that's literally what this guy's known for.
Yeah.
And they brought me in, and so if you go back and the dialogue for Squirrely Dan in season 1 is different than everything else in the rest of the season, because it was written to be a more lascivious character, we'll say, a bit more of a dirtbag.
Yeah.
Do you know that one, Danny?
Lascivious? Can't say I do, but I will nod my head to it. Lascivious sounds like a dirty little stripper you met in Sarnia.
Yeah, Lascivious walked you to the ATM 3 times.
Or like a villain or something.
Now,
what does lascivious mean?
Like lusty.
Oh, so not far off.
Okay, all right.
So, no, Trevor, because I remember standing outside of an institution in Toronto, Spirits Comedy. Remember when Spirits was around, obviously, and that was a fucking phenomenal show that's long since been gone. And I remember
Spirits
standing
is now A&W, I believe.
Oh, that's so sad. But I was out there Well, that's back when
One of
I
the
smoked
best- one of the
cigarettes,
best
and
fast foods,
we
though.
were smoking cigarettes together,
Yeah.
Trevor and I, and you were telling me how you just booked this show, and it was Letterkenny, and you couldn't say too much about it yet, and you just said that you were going away for a couple months to film this new show, and I remember being like super pumped for you at that time, but who the fuck would have known that like over a decade later or whatever it is, people are lining up to fucking take pictures, and they got bobbleheads, and they're buying
no.
your
That was
shirts.
one thing that yesterday when you had to sign that pop, the
Funko,
action figure,
yeah.
dude, that was crazy.
That's awesome.
That-
To
isn't it?
have one of those
That's
made on like your
definitely
characters.
one of the highlights of my whole career is having like a collectible figure made
yeah.
of my
Oh, yeah.
persona. And those things are. I've got a couple at my house. I'm not going to lie. They sent
course
me
you
some
do.
free ones, but I also bought a couple. And
What's
yeah,
your favorite
when,
memorabilia that they've made of you so far?
It's got to be that, no?
The Funko, I think. Like
Yeah?
some of the T-shirts are good, like the Allegedly's T-shirts. Was always fun, but the Funko is definitely the biggest bragging rights.
Yeah.
Like, to be, with everything else that's been turned into a Funko Pop.
Yeah,
hell
man,
yeah.
that's so cool.
You're in
That
you're in
jacked
good
me
company
up, let
there.
alone if it was my own self.
And when those things get signed too, their value goes up a lot. I've actually I sign them for fans, but I try not to sign them for the hobby shop guys unless they cut me in on it.
You ever had to deal with some super weirdo fans?
My fans are generally pretty cool.
They
and laid
seem
back.
that way from the people that I've met.
Proper
seem
fans
cool.
are really good people. There's always weirdos.
There are, man.
There's always like overzealous people, but for the most part, my fans have been nice. The people that end up being the problem are again like the autograph hounds who don't pay for the show.
Do they come around with just like the 8x10s or whatever? In a
The
binder.
pictures that they've printed out themselves that aren't like official stuff, and or like they'll come at you with a pallet.
I remember
They pull out a huge portfolio.
Kid, you're the
and want
first-
you to
But
sign
they're
19
like
things.
stalking you out in the parking lot. They're not in the lineup with the fans who paid for the ticket. And
The first time I ever did JFL, there was a guy that when I got off the elevator there, and he had one of those books, and he found a picture of me, and I was like, "This." I had just gotten to JFL, I'd never done anything before, and he had a picture of me and asked me to sign it, and I thought, "Holy fuck, have I arrived? Like, have I made it?" And then I just watched that guy be weird and have just a photo of every single comic
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
going
He
to be at the
kisses it
festival.
after.
yeah, that was my first experience too with it. Was at the
Probably the same guy.
JFL. Oh yeah, no, he's there every year.
Yeah.
Nice
But
guy.
like that guy in
Picks his
comparison
favorite face and new
to some of the
faces.
guys I've encountered, like that guy was pretty polite and nice about it.
Uh-huh.
But because like I've had people like I've had guys show up with their kids
Yeah.
and use their kids to get the autographs,
Sure.
and it's like, why are you in a parking lot at midnight?
Sign my
With your
kid's
children.
face.
Yeah.
Like and
It
like
worked for a sports
why
athlete.
didn't
It's got to
you-
work for you.
or they posted up outside the hotel, and it's like you guys didn't pay for the show.
Yeah.
You're not. This isn't any of my official stuff. Like you're and you want me to sign it with no name so you can go sell it on eBay or
Right.
wherever you sell it. Like I had one guy
Not a bad racket.
find my old home address and mail me a package trying to get me to sign a bunch of stuff, pretending to be a kid with cancer.
Nice.
No.
And I did my due diligence and looked the guy up, and he was a grown man who owned a collectible store.
To be
Did
safe,
you put him on blast?
To be fair, though,
I-
Trev, that
the-
man might be as sick as a kid with cancer.
Yeah.
Well, he got a very strongly worded email from the people at Letterkenny.
Right.
Nice.
Oh, you went up top for that one.
Sent it up the ranks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I get the tame version of it. Poor Michelle from the show, she would get the creepiest of messages sent to her. Of
course.
Michelle and Camila, and I'm sure all the gals on the show have had some weird ones. But one guy,
foot
while we
requests.
were filming, sent her a dick pic, but he did it from his company email.
Oh.
I mean, that's bold.
So
Where did he work?
Well, he doesn't work there anymore.
What was it, though?
I can't remember.
Casters and Plasters,
Something in
Inc.
steel.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think it was a shipping company.
He drove
but-
around a van with a fucking ladder on the roof
he-
for
he-
sure.
He forgot to switch to the burner account and had all
Awesome.
of his work info on
Yeah,
there.
he's
and his
using the
email
Microsoft
signature.
Office one. Come on,
So,
all I want is a picture of your foot.
That was another weird one when because Kiso had a habit of taking off his shoes for some of the
They like
outdoor
that.
scenes.
Some people
and,
really like that.
A lot of the people from the show ended up on the foot fetish website, the Rate My
Really?
Feet thing. Yeah.
Foot ranker or foot finder?
Yeah,
Well-
there's weird people out there. That's
You
Hey,
know what
listen,
it is.
I know about foot finder.
Yeah.
A little
not
bit,
not
yeah.
that not to cast judgment on people who are into feet.
No, it's fine. Hey, listen.
But
My
also-
my mom has been thinking because she's got big bunions and
About
so
putting
she-
her feet out there.
Yeah, she always goes, Daniel. I know there's a couple weirdos in here that like my feet. You know, I got some nice feet and some bunions. So
I'd
they
love
could
to have a
probably
look
do
at
it.
your mom's bunions.
Well, hey, easy now.
Well, she's fine. It's her idea,
You're
dude.
gonna have to pay $10 to see Mary's bunion.
It was her idea.
Yeah, but every so often she does that. She goes, I'm too old to do those OnlyFans, but I could probably do an OnlyFoots, Daniel.
I think you could do OnlyFans.
I wouldn't want my mom to.
Well, you wouldn't like it, but
I
that's
told
not
my-
to say that she can't.
Well,
She is her own woman.
Listen, my mom told me when I turned 18 and I started doing comedy, she said, Daniel, we know what you were born with here. Do not do pornography or do anything while I'm alive. So
Autism?
if my-
What was she talking about?
Yeah. She knew as I was born.
We know what you're born
Full
with.
spectrum warrior. But then she said, you can't do anything like that. And then, but if my mom was hypocritical and did that, I would.
Then the whole fucking Danny,
The whole-
the whole Martinello clan hops in. I'll show you, Mom.
Yeah, if mom leads it, then the whole thing.
I bet,
always
K-Trev,
have to
no
chuckle
joke.
at the people who get like the talks from their family. I always think of Peter Anthony, who isn't allowed to use the family name
That's funny.
because the family thought he was, they don't want him to. They didn't want him to embarrass them, so they made him come up with a stage name.
Oh yeah.
But his brother Ken over on Sportsnet gets to use the family last name.
Yeah, Peter Anthony, Canadian comedian. That's
His brother Ken, the sports broadcaster, he gets to use the real
Hey,
last
do you think
name.
do you think he gets to like almost like being up for parole? Do you think like every holiday he gets to bring it up and leave it to the table once more? He's like, "Can I use it yet?"
Yeah,
and they're like, "No, it's your brother."
Depends on
They're
how many
like,
live
no.
tapings he does with like CBC. He goes, "Look, Mom, I'm on Canadian national TV." He goes, "Yeah, but your brother's on Sportsnet, so."
We don't want people. Well, now your brother's famous, and we don't want people associating you
Yeah.
with your brother.
Before we were worried about us. Now you could. There's so much harm you could do to your brother's career.
Yeah. He's going to be interviewing the Argos soon, you know. We don't need him causing any stir.
Yeah.
I actually I co-hosted the CFL Awards last fall.
Oh, they're right.
Nice.
I got invited out to
Where was
Niagara
that?
Falls
Niagara Falls.
because it was in Hamilton, the Grey Cup,
Yep.
and the Grey Cup city is supposed to host the awards.
Hortons
so of course
Field.
They,
Tim
of course, they
Hortons Field.
outsourced it to Niagara Falls because it's nicer. But yeah, that was a fun time. It was poor Kate Barness had been asking for a co-host for years because they put all the hosting duties on her, and they finally agreed and got me to come in and co-host. And then they barely made me do anything. She still had to do. She still
you
had to
want
do
you
the
to
lion's
stand
share of the
there?
chore. I came
The
out.
Canadian Football League is such a well-oiled machine, K-Trev. It just,
I came out off the top, and the thing I'd set up with the league, we were like, well, what should I do for this thing? And I'm like, well, I'm one of the judges on Roast Battles Canada, so what if I come out and I just roast the whole CFL? And they were like, oh, we love it. That'll be great. So I submitted my jokes. They were on board for everything. But I made a rookie mistake of not qualifying what I was doing off the top. I did not inform the audience that I was going to be roasting the league. And
So
I
you just come out looking like you're shitting
I
on
just
the whole
walk
league?
out, make a couple jokes about Canadian football that got everyone on board, and then just team by team, I started ripping into them.
What was your one about the Edmonton Elks?
that's only 7 jokes.
Well, I went after the Elks for changing the
name
their
change?
name change, and then they pick an animal. First off, they were named after an Indigenous people, not indigenous to Alberta.
Yeah.
There were no, even though you should have been calling them the Inuit, there are no Eskimo or Inuit.
Yeah, well, you couldn't put
in
there's
Alberta. And they changed it to the Elks, which I believe is also not indigenous to the province of Alberta.
Elks? Yeah, we got Elks up in Jasper and stuff.
Oh, well, you did.
Yeah, we did.
But yeah, no, I ripped them on their name change, and then I kept making I made a lot of jokes about the Red Blacks having the laziest name in the league.
Yeah.
Just Kaiser so saying it based on their color scheme.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
a lot of the teams I'd be like the Elks, or as I like to call them, the Green Yellows, and just a lot of stuff like that. And I went after my Toronto Argonauts. I went after the Alouettes for being named after a dainty songbird.
Anyone can get it.
Went after the Rough Riders and the Rough Riders the fact
Rough
that
Riders was when we would still go on tour early in Saskatchewan. Rough Riders was a condom brand that you would find in like the gas station bathrooms or
Nice.
like all the club bathrooms.
But it was pretty embarrassing that in a league with 8 teams, we had 2 teams with the same name for many, many years.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me ask you something, Dick Cager, because you are a.
But like about halfway through, they realized I was doing everybody and got on board.
Yeah,
But
then
for
it's
the,
okay.
For the first part of it,
you
they
should
were
have
a little
just
pissed.
stuck on the Alouettes for 20 minutes.
I think the guys from the Argonauts told me the Red Blacks were pretty pissed at me, but yeah,
Whatever.
That's okay.
they've folded once before, so
the dream
don't
of playing
get too
for
high
them
up.
is
in
dead.
Yeah.
But Cager, you're a roast
They
guy,
can be
right?
upset on the off season when they all have to work at Rona.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Going back to unloading furniture at the Brick.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your favorite K-Trev as being a roast guy? You won Jeff Ross's roast battle, right?
Yeah, I the last JFL I did, I won the Jeff Ross Roast Masters Invitational Tournament, defeating the great Jimmy Carr in the finals. I believe I am still the reigning world champion of roast battling.
That's great. Do you remember that time, K-Trev, when I was opening for you before roast battles, and then when the show was done, I ran my jokes by you, and you're like, "That's good, that'll work," and then I went up and ate a huge fucking cock in front of the entire industry, and as Jimmy Carr and Jeff Ross teed off on me, and Howie Mandel teed off on me, I'm like, "Don't worry, K-Trev's the last judge. He'll say something kind," and then you piled on with them, and I was like, "He fucked me." He fucked me. He looked me in the eyes an hour ago and said this would work.
Nancy Kerrigan.
I felt really bad for that
Tanya Harding.
because when we ran the jokes backstage, they were solid, and on stage, it didn't translate.
No, it didn't.
What was one of
and
your
here's the thing,
I was
because
kind of set up too as kind of
You
a
were-
lamb to a slaughter. In
you
that
were
fuck-
up against a very hammered Australian girl,
Yeah. And
and
she had some inside jokes on me because I didn't realize that she had talked to people that knew me, and I was just trying to write jokes based off of her Google searches.
yeah, and you came off a little bit aggressive off the top, and I believe this is one of the most important things. If you're a dude roast battling a woman, always have the woman go first. Because
Then you can gauge the level.
you are responding to her insults.
Could have used that in the green room.
Whereas
This
off
guy
the
who comes out.
I
I
feel like you knew that before I got to the venue, K-Trev.
whereas
I'm like, I'll go first.
I-
Look at this bitch.
I
He's
don't
gonna
I
learn
don't-
today.
I didn't have any input.
No,
I
I was
got
just
to go first, but yeah, no, it's
It was a great lesson for
What do
me.
you guys flip a coin?
because you opened up by making a joke about like how drunk she was, and I think Jeff Ross was just like, all right, so you're already telling her what to do, and
Yeah, I don't really remember how it went down. I just remember it wasn't good.
no, it went
He's
poorly.
actually brought
and
it up a couple times from time to time.
I felt terrible because I did like help you with the jokes, and then they all fucking bombed, and I'm like, oh, there's nothing I can say here to make
I had
it
the
better.
one of them hit, but then it was like in the middle, and so I bookended it with bombs. Like I only had the one that did well,
nice little shit sandwich.
and it
with
was
the good
a
side in
big
the middle.
shit
Yeah.
sandwich, and boy did it taste bad.
Yeah, no,
But I got right back up.
I felt bad for that. I felt bad for that.
Whatever, man. I learned a lot that night.
What was the salt that you threw in his wound when you were like, oh, I helped this guy, but then
You
now
didn't
I got,
say fuck all
but now
about
I got-
that.
But now I got a shit.
Well,
on
no,
him.
no.
You
First
washed his
off,
hands of me.
I'm not admitting that I helped him with
No.
those jokes. No, that's not happened. That was not happening at all. I acted
Well,
like
Howie, Jimmy, I couldn't agree more. That sucked.
you gave him the one thing where he's like trying to run by those jokes, and then you're like, yeah, I mean that's all right, but you didn't even pay attention. You just wanted to give him reassurance.
it was like no, you're like, yeah, you know what, I'd put this up front here, maybe move this here, and then,
Try it up there. See how
but
it goes.
but yeah,
He
no,
went, have fun, bud.
yeah. And he
It,
looks immediately over to Jim Ross. He goes, well, this guy's gonna bomb.
Jeff Ross, yeah. Whatever, dude.
yeah, no, it was.
you gotta take a
I
beat.
felt bad because I was like, oh boy, this worked a lot better in fucking practice. But
Sure did. We had fun,
that
though.
that girl was like, and also like she was so fucking hammered up
Yeah,
there going up against.
it was endearing.
Leave it to an Aussie.
Yeah,
to
no,
shit-face.
she was,
endearing.
but it made her like sweeter because she was like seemed kind of out of it, and
Yeah.
people were like, oh, the poor girl doesn't even know what she's doing up there.
Yeah.
Now, when you were going,
And it was also 2019, and it was the height of like Me Too and everything, and then I just came out looking like a prick, and I seemed like a really
do
just
kinda sometimes
asshole straight white man, and
have
like
the,
the deck was stacked against me to a degree where I really did have to come out and nail the first joke, and like you said, maybe have her go. There's a lot of things that I misstepped early, and I think that it didn't curry any favors because I was already kind of walking out there when people being like, that guy's probably not going to win this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
know
I
what I
can
mean?
see it because like sometimes on stage your persona comes off as like a little bit of a dickish. So
Hell yeah.
So
But
when
I
you
know
give
that.
them, when you give them the full ability to be like, all right, tear into it, and then you go first and you just fucking.
It's a woman.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
they
not-
looking like how you're looking.
It's
you're
the
like,
hardest
this guy.
thing because you have to very quickly, with not a lot of time, endear yourself to
Yes.
the crowd. And I see a lot of
failed
roast
to do
battlers. They come out too aggressive, and it's like thinking like we're going into a wrestling match, and it's like this isn't the same as wrestling because you need the audience to like you more than the person you're going against.
Yeah. So then, as champion, when you're going up there for a little bit of advice, then would you put like a little bit of a softer punch on your first one, the one that's a more playful one, the more that's
I think you still want to hit him in the mouth, right? You just
Well,
want.
but yeah, you wanna build to your meaner stuff.
Yeah, you don't
later.
want to come straight gank in there.
You want to come out strong, and
Look at this gash.
what I like to do is like have my
Fucking whore.
first joke. I'm sort of like introducing
Yourself
what I
as well.
know about them, while
Yeah.
also setting up my character on there, and I come out very calm, very level. I speak in the low monotone, and just like when I battled Randy Feltface at the same tournament.
Yeah.
Sorry, who? Randy Felton?
He's a
Randy
puppet.
Feltface,
Oh, is he?
the
Puppet.
puppet.
He's
the
very
blue
funny,
guy,
though.
the
He's
blue guy.
funny.
Yeah, the Australian puppet act,
Yeah.
and I
Fucking
got to
Aussies.
choose my opponent, and I chose Randy.
Yeah.
Because I knew that's going to be the biggest challenge, and if
Yeah.
I can beat a puppet,
Get it out of the way.
I can beat anybody because people love puppets.
Yeah.
How can you hate a puppet?
Well, you
They-
can say whatever you want because
They
the puppet's thing.
automatically love the puppet more than you.
Yeah.
So what I did off the top is I came out and talked about. I like basically read out Randy's biography. Like what the character of the puppet, and then I was like, Randy's a divorced father, recovering drug addict, this and that, and all of that's bullshit because he's not real. He's a
Yeah.
puppet. There's a sad Australian man behind
it.
that carpet.
And then you blow his fourth wall.
And then
Right?
I just started ripping into the secret sad man behind the puppet.
Funny. That's a great
Oh,
tactic
so the
for
secret
that.
sad man you gave you were technically saying it was Randy, but it was actually him. He was divorced and all that stuff.
No. Like Randy is like the character of Randy the
okay,
puppet
okay.
has got this whole backstory, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I introduced Randy's backstory. I'm like, but none of that's true. What's really going on is there's a sad weirdo behind here. Randy Feltface is an adult puppet act, which
Yeah, you
is
take the
which
curtain
is an
away like
industry
Oz.
code for convicted sex offender.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Yeah.
He's
What's
not
your
allowed
favorite-
around kids.
What,
Yeah, because he goes over. There's a Randy. Randy's not the registered one, so you can put it. He can come
yeah,
around.
You
But
can
then
keep
you
air
build
quoting
up-
everything and
you
just
build up, and
burning
then
this-
I think my last joke on Randy was, and I started referring to the puppeteer.
Yeah.
I just started skipping Randy altogether and being like, the puppeteer back here, one of his greatest influences is Jim Henson, and you know what? We all feel like you should really take after Jim Henson and die young.
Love that.
Nice.
Very nice.
So then, as you're going through all these guys, eliminating them and stuff, because you made it was a very like we were talking about it yesterday at the table or whatever, and you said that as a Canadian, you're going through these guys, and you have to hit them super hard because they're not going to really give it to a Canadian. What did
That was for the televised one. When I did Roast Battles season 1 for Comedy Central, we filmed that at Just for Laughs, and it was like we'd record it and then they'd edit it and it would air the next day, except for the finals, which were straight up live to air. And for that one, because I had done the previous year, the original Jeff Ross Roast Masters tournament, and I'd made it to the semis. So when they came time to do the Roast Battles proper tournament, the guys from Roast Battles went to bat for me to be the Canadian on the show because I had done so well the previous year in the tournament. Comedy Central wanted a bigger name Canadian on it, but Jeff and those guys were like, no, trust us. This guy nailed it last year, and he knows the format, and trust us, it's going to work. And for me, it was all just about getting to the finals.
Yeah.
Like, I knew once I got to the finals that for the Canadian guy to win, I would have to blow them all out of the water. So I knew,
especially if you're going up a car.
I knew if it was anywhere close that it wasn't going to go in my favor, and but I just had to get to those finals because then I was doing 4 episodes of American TV.
Yeah,
and for me that was like that was the win. If I could get 4 episodes of American TV, then I had those credits that I can hang my hat on for stand up, and they would help me get my papers down here, which it definitely did help me get my visa. Jeff Ross wrote me one of my recommendation letters.
Are you rocking
That's great.
01 or did you get the green
01.
card? Yeah,
01, yeah. And for people who don't know, like to get your work papers to come to the United States,
It's a motherfucker.
you have to prove yourself.
That's why the dude buddies got it.
How does that make you? Does that make you feel a little less good about yours? That you're sitting across from these 2 fucking dorks and we got the same paperwork
people
as
that
you?
got them and we go, what?
Because you saw what happened to me on that roast, and I got the same fucking paperwork you got.
I just did it faster.
No shit. And better.
And better.
Yeah, and better.
yeah.
Hey, do you have a favorite roast joke that you've ever told? Like, do you have like I know you have so many bangers. I've heard a lot of them, and they are fucking fire.
I watched
But do you have like one that always stands out or that people have brought up to you? That
I've dropped some good ones. There was one I did on season 1 of Roast Battles, which made a lot of rounds, and it was actually Tyler Morrison and Hunter Collins were helping me do Punch Up.
Tyler's the best.
Tyler's
incredible. I mean, Hunter's really great
on
too.
season 1 of Roast Battles. I bounced my jokes off of them, and Tyler Morrison gave me this line, and I used it on Earl Skakel, and it was Earl likes to dress up as wrestlers when he goes to the gym and works out. Next time you should dress up as Chris Benoit and kill yourself and anyone who loved you.
Fuck yeah, that's good. That's got Tyler Stink all
Chris
over.
Benoit. He was
And,
good old boy.
One of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite wrestlers.
Let us be clear.
But as I've wrestlers have come up to me about that joke and been like that was funny, and I was like, I was really afraid I was going to catch heat with you guys for that line, and they're like, no, like no bones about it.
Yeah.
We know what he did was wrong, and that was still a funny
You know what,
joke.
K-Trev, that's a good segue into
What we're
talking about Chris Benoit here. We got a new segment that we're doing on this podcast,
right.
and we're gonna run it with you this time. Okay, it's called Good Buddy Bad Dude. So I'm gonna list off a few people from the media this week, people that have had something happen in the media. And then you're going to tell us whether you think this is a good buddy or a bad dude.
And how many beers you would have with them.
From 1 to 10, the beer scale. How many beers would you have? 1 being they're the worst, you don't want to hang out with them. You're going to have 1 beer, you want to get the fuck out of there. 10 being you want to tie one on with this person because you're interested.
And if you want, you could say 0 beers.
You can also want to drink with a bad dude.
Yeah.
It's just you might be interested in their psyche. You know?
Yeah. You might want to know their story.
Yeah. So, okay. So, good buddy, bad
Peel
dude.
back the layers.
With K. Trevor Wilson. All right. First up, we have our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who was ambushed on a beach in Tofino a couple of days ago by a right-wing media outlet from Calgary.
Oh, I saw those clips.
While he was on vacation with his family, right?
Very inappropriate.
Very inappropriate.
Full incognito, too. He's got his cut off. He's got his full thing.
Yeah, he looked more like a dude.
This was one where you're like, leave Justin alone.
Yeah, he looked awesome. He had his tattoo out, whatever. But so this guy, he gets ambushed, and the whole thing is about the guy's really hammering him on his vacation days and his time off. And he was there on a 10-day vacation with his family. And obviously, as you saw, Justin Trudeau is trying to justify that he should be able to have a normal life and spend some time with his family. But then the numbers, which I have here, they say that since 2015, he's taken 680 vacation days, which totals 22 months of time off. Okay, so we see him now justifying it. I understand he should have somewhat of a normal life. Also, you're prime minister, so not quite. But Justin Trudeau, good buddy or bad dude?
You know what? I got a lot of mutuals with the Prime Minister, which is odd enough.
Mutual friends?
Know a bunch of guys who have known him over the years, and I actually used to work
Didn't
with.
see that coming.
Yeah, neither did I.
I used to work with his sister back when I had a job briefly writing the Twitter feed for Moose Knuckles.
She cute?
She's a nice gal.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to say Trudeau, good buddy.
Good buddy.
Okay.
How many beers?
I'm not much of a drinker, and I think after a while we'd run out of things to talk about. But I'd maybe have 2-3 beers with him.
2-3 beers with the Prime Minister.
Proper sitting. I'd much prefer to smoke a joint with him.
All right. Well, then let's give
I
you
like
a joint
that.
Scale. We'll give
Okay,
you a joint
joints.
scale.
Let's go joints.
And it's fitting too because you legalized marijuana.
I'd share a joint with the minister. I'd split a coner with the PM.
I love that. So Justin Trudeau, good buddy. Next
Yeah,
up.
no, he's old friends with Joey Elias.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Also a classic Canadian comic.
Oh.
Okay, so next up we
Did you ever
have.
have a time- did you ever meet him?
I haven't met the Prime Minister. I can't say that I have. I haven't met too many people in politics.
well, all you got to do is stalk his airplane, find him while he's hanging out with his child in
it's apparently pretty easy.
the
to do.
westernmost point of the country, and all you got to do is walk up to him, and evidently you can get 20 minutes on camera with
Isn't
the guy.
that insane though? Like, could you imagine someone just trying
Can't do that to the
ambush,
president.
And he comes
Could
out
you
of the
imagine
bushes.
someone trying
like-
to ambush Biden or fucking
Yeah,
Trump?
you wouldn't be able to do it.
You'd get shot.
Yeah.
Safe to say Trudeau would have died if he was in the same situation as Trump last week or 2
Yeah, but
weeks
it's like,
ago.
I mean, like Trudeau, people can ambush him. Like, you remember when Prime Minister Chrétien got pied in the face?
Oh, yeah. And he also choked him in.
Oh, that was the best when he
choked him
chokeslammed
in.
the
But
And he
guy.
also, there was the guy that snuck into his house too, and then he had to smash him out with the Inuit.
His wife grabbed the Inuit statue and smashed him in the head.
Phenomenal, baby. That's Canada.
That's Canadian top
You can take
secret.
it. You can take a poke at the prime minister, but he pokes back. That's
yeah.
what you need to know.
I remember
some
because
of them.
that was the same year that Air Force One came out, and it was like, oh, that's the ultimate like American fantasy, a president that can beat up the terrorists with his own two fists.
And we got him.
Meanwhile, we got him, old
You-
Chrétien with his
Yeah.
crooked smile,
Jean
like choke
Chrétien.
slamming.
Fuck yeah, that's
with his,
awesome.
With his Bell's palsy talking out the side of his face like old JR.
Almost looked like he always had like a lipper and like a nice fucking wintergreen.
He was the best.
skull.
Chrétien, you guys remember when they had that they had the corruption scandal and they were like they had to testify in front of the thing and they said you spent a lot of money on souvenir golf balls to give away to dignitaries, and he's like, yes, this is common practice in politics. I have many souvenir golf balls. This one I got from the President of the United States, George Bush Sr. Here's another one I got from Bill Clinton. Here's one from the law.
So he's justifying that, like, yeah, I mean, this is what
This is
you
what we
here,
do, man.
Paul.
We trade balls.
Yeah,
Trade balls.
Here's one from the law firm that your daughter works for. Here's
Right on.
Didn't Nixon always hand out? He gave people guns too. Didn't he always give them like memorabilia guns? He gave them.
Seems appropriate, yeah.
Yeah, he gave it.
I mean, I don't know that personally, but it wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't surprise anybody. Okay, next up.
Who's next?
Next up on Good Buddy Bad Dude.
We got the latest one. Elon Musk did an interview here with Jordan Peterson, and then that he stated that his son was killed by the woke mind virus.
He's a trans kid.
trans kid.
He
So
was
his son
transitioned
went
from
to
a male to
daughter.
a female, and he's saying that the son died.
He died.
He's dead to him.
Because
He's-
he explained it. It's called dead naming once you you say their previous name that they were born with and that they don't want to be identified as. And he says that they are dead now. So if I can't call my son what it was born as, I guess he technically is dead. And then he vowed to destroy the woke mind
as
virus.
the most evil billionaire move, he vowed to destroy something, and it is
Jordan
the
Peterson
woke.
tries to like continue the conversation.
Peterson,
He
I'm
goes,
so
"No,
sorry to hear
I
that."
I want to say I have vowed now to destroy the woke
Like this
mind
motherfucker's this
virus."
close to blocking out the sun,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Elon Musk, good buddy or bad dude?
I'm gonna have to say bad dude.
Yeah.
Look, you get
That surprises me.
you-
That surprises
you,
me.
Your kids are your kids, and it's your job to love them no matter what. So,
Yeah.
Wild.
so that right there, like, denying your kid's existence is number one bad dude move, and then vowing to eradicate just about anything. And like
Sitting up in his lair.
It's scary when someone with almost $200 billion vows to destroy
Destroy.
something.
the
Make it
That
my
is
life
super
purpose.
villain
Isn't that
shit.
what he said too? But now he was like trying to shoot, to get people to space and to Mars, and now he's changed his whole thing.
Starts
to,
grounding rockets.
Yeah.
Bring them down. Bring them down. We got a new thing.
the
we
way
gotta
people
do.
have grabbed onto the woke terminology as if it's this like big monster moving across the world trying to take away all their fun stuff. Like, woke has a very clear definition. It's recognizing that there are certain inequalities in the world and feeling that something should be done about it.
Yeah.
That's all that woke is. Like, and there are people who think that they are against woke culture that are completely woke because they're still speaking about inequalities. Like, it could be any kind of inequality. If you're upset that there's not enough services out there to help men who've been victims of abuse and think that something should be done about that, you're technically woke.
Well, it's the same way that there are a lot of conservatives that are still actually technically liberal, if you actually look up what the definition of
Yeah.
liberal is, right?
But
The
it's
divide
become
isn't
this buzzword, and I find the people who are angriest at the woke movement actually do not know what the definition of the word is, do not understand what it means.
Right.
And they're just, it's like, yeah. It's
Danny's
like,
just learning.
It's like liberal in the, it's like liberal
Yeah,
in the
okay,
90s.
I mean,
Danny's learning live right now.
I can understand, and I can relate to people wanting to change their names or I guess their whole identity, because I was born a Daniel, but then in grade 3 I decided to identify myself as Danny.
As Donnie, as fucking Donnie.
I know it's not the same, but I get it.
No, it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah, but I get it. No, so it's like I don't know.
So okay, but so evil Elon, bad dude. How many joints and/or beers are you gonna have? Are you gonna pick that brain, or are you just gonna walk out of there?
I mean,
You gonna challenge him?
I'd probably have a beer with him, but I you know,
Elon Musk,
he
SpaceX,
he
Tesla.
doesn't.
He's buying.
He doesn't
Skylink.
seem like the most fun.
No, he doesn't. He seems robotic
Well,
and
he's a
insane.
cyborg. He's a cyborg.
Yeah.
And you know, also he didn't invent Tesla. He just invested in it.
Yeah.
Like, people think he's this like genius inventor. No, he just put money in other people's inventions.
Sounds pretty smart to me.
Yeah, but people are giving him credit for
Yeah,
like,
no,
you know,
of
he's
course.
a visionary. Like, no, he didn't come up with the design
And I
for
think
the
it's
electric
fitting
car.
too, because a lot of people stole Nikola Tesla's shit. They did. They discredited him and all that stuff. Did you know that? No, yeah.
Edison spent a lot of money to make Tesla look crazier than he was. And
Yeah?
Tesla was pretty crazy. The guy was in love with a pigeon.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Ain't nothing wrong. Lord knows we've been in love with a
Well-
couple pigeon heads. Am I right?
Was it one of those?
Because his pigeon was an actual bird.
I mean, Mike Tyson was in love with pigeons.
Yeah, but I don't think.
I don't, not to the extent that
Not
Nikola
in,
Tesla
like he wasn't
was,
trying to fuck him.
didn't want to marry a pigeon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think you had Mike Tyson just sitting there, a bunch of seeds in his mouth while a pigeon puts its head in.
You don't know that. That's actually a bad example. I bet he has done that.
Well, I don't know. I've done that.
I've wanted to.
I've done that.
All right, next up, we got one more for you. So we have there's been a little controversy in the Olympics. The Olympics just started this weekend,
Massive
right?
controversy
And
on
so
two
we,
fronts.
we have the women's Canadian soccer coach. All right, what's her name? Bev Priestman. And she has been suspended from soccer. She was sent home. 2 other coaches, I believe, were sent home from Canada because she's been using, they say, ever since the 2020 Tokyo gold medal run that the women's Olympic team had, they've been using drones to spy on other teams' closed practices.
Yeah, on the practice
to learn
pitch.
their plays and to study what they're going to do and everything. Kind of just a page out of old Bill Belichick's book. And now she's been suspended, and there's going to probably be more fallout from that for
Canada's
that program
docked
because
6
they were
points.
successful and they've been docked points. So, Bev Priestman, good buddy or bad dude? I mean, just trying to give Canada the edge.
but doing it in a shitty
It's
way.
like if I flew a drone over you writing roast jokes, and then when you walk out and I'm doing your fucking jokes and I win.
Yeah. He's in his room, and all you hear is.
Yeah. Bev, bad dude.
Bad dude.
You know, first off, the number one rule of cheating is don't get caught.
100%.
And you know, if you get caught, you're immediately elevated to bad dude status. Like
Yeah.
you made the whole country look bad by cheating at the Olympics.
It
You
does put
know,
a stink on us, doesn't it?
it does.
little
Like, you know,
stain.
we've had a couple stinks on us over the years. You know, we had the steroid scandal with Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
that,
He was awesome, though, man.
he
You don't
was
want to
incredible.
see a motherfucker
He
try to
was-
race a horse?
He was you know, wonderful guy who got caught up. I mean, because everyone was doping back then. He
Yeah.
just happened to get caught. But
Bailey had a dope, too,
But that's
right?
the thing. If you know, it's like the Jesse Ventura rule. You know, win if you can, lose if you have to, but always cheat. But if you're going to cheat, if you're going to
If you
cheat,
get caught,
Wait.
good
if you're going to
dude.
cheat,
I
don't
thought that
get
was
caught.
our saying.
Yeah.
But
My favorite
yeah,
is
like
I lie, I cheat, I steal.
you know, like, do you really need to cheat at
Women's
women's soccer? Like,
She'd love to tell you, but she's too busy biting down on a gold medal.
you know, you gotta
No, she's not. She's biting down on a plane ticket home.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, you're right.
get those gals out there and let them do their thing and let them do it win it fair and square because they have the ability to do it.
Yeah,
Why don't
ever
you
since Sinclair left, they're like, we don't got a right foot shooter. We need to cheat.
Should be
We
flying
need to cheat."
flying a drone over the men's basketball facility and figure out how to dunk.
Yeah.
All right. That's unfair.
You know, if you're look,
Okay, so are you going to bend an elbow with Bev?
All European football coaches should just follow the Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Believe.
Believe.
Yeah. So okay. So any beers or joints with Bev? Or are you gonna?
Oh no, I'd sit down for a couple beers.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Bev,
yeah, you wanna
for
know,
sure,
right?
for sure. I want to hear that story.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing I've learned is an old Canadian gal named Bev has probably got a few
Good time. Yeah.
probably got a few stories hidden in the quiver there that she can pull out when she needs to. So
Yeah.
I bet you Bev would tie one on and have some good tales to tell.
I think so too, and I think that Bev starts leaning very politically one way when she starts to drink
'cause
too, right?
She looks like she's the kind of woman that she's got a couple things on her chest to say.
She does, yeah. K-Trap, do you get a lot of people? Thank you for playing Good Buddy Bad Dude. By the way.
No worries.
Do you get a lot of people? You have a very distinct voice, a great voice, one of the great voices of comedy. Do you get a lot of people? Because I've seen it, you've seen it. I mean, around me and around other comics. But do you get people trying to do impressions of you?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Well, that just so happens that Danny here does what I think is a great impression
Everybody
of you.
says I do a good K-Trap, but I will
Right on.
disclaimer it. I don't think it's that
I
good.
would love for K-Trev to sit down with K-Trev for a moment, and if you let us know how you feel about this.
All right. We'll see how it goes. This is always interesting.
I'm sitting here. My name's K. Trevor Wilson. I'm sitting with my alter ego, K. Trevor Wilson. I just had to say I enjoyed myself while we were sitting down having a nice basket of Dragon's Breath wings together at the Crown Tiger, and it's just an absolute pleasure to be with you today.
It's not bad. It does sound like I just smoked like 8 packs. It's a very raspy, like your
We'll work on
impression.
it.
Your
Okay,
impression
maybe-
is if K-Trev just did a flight of stairs before
Holy
starting
shit,
this
I shouldn't have done that
conversation.
Stairmaster with Boomer Phillips.
Well, there's your
Yeah.
character, though. Okay, this is K-Trev after a flight of stairs.
I think the secret to doing my voice is it's like you do Stone Cold Steve Austin with a bit of a Canadian accent.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's kind of the sweet
Ooh,
spot.
I like
It's-
that. Could you
Can
got
I
a
get a
Texas
hell
rattlesnake
yeah?
So
impression?
it's Steve Austin mixed with Seth Rogen, and somewhere in the middle you find K. Trevor Wilson.
Can you do Steve
For the
Austin
record,
or Seth Rogen?
I told him I didn't want to do a K. Trevor Wilson.
He did.
Just out of disrespect for you, out of it. But
And
then
I wanted
but he
it.
says it's a good one. It's a good
See,
one.
see if I can. I haven't tried to do Stone Cold. That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
that just sounds
Pretty
like
good.
you're
It
speaking
sounds like him
normally.
still, but
Yeah.
no, but most of the wrestler impressions that you do sound like because you sound like a wrestler.
Yeah, no, I mean I do have that kind of
You have the
voice to me.
baritone.
Yeah, I've done Jesse the Body Ventura is a favorite of mine to do. you know.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about maybe, because I believe you could do a little bit of a crossover with like getting into wrestling, even if it's a lower rank.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Have you ever even thought?
Oh, great
I'd-
manager
I'd,
cutting
I'd love
promos?
to. One of my favorite things I did a few years back, I sat in with the announce team on an episode of Smash Wrestling and got to call a tag team match between the Well-Oiled Machines and Tabernacle Team at
Is that like
a
one
Smash
of the wrestlers
event.
you'd see on like the Danforth or something? Or
Yeah, this was at this was at a nightclub in Toronto. They filmed this, and that was a lot of fun because I got to call the match, and I went full on heel announcer on it when doing the match. I kept ripping into Psycho Mike, who's a terrific Toronto-based wrestler, and I would do like Bobby the Brain Heenan style jokes about him. Be like, Mike, great wrestler, not the smartest guy. Backstage before the show, I gave him a Rubik's Cube to solve, and you know what he did? He ate it. Not the smartest guy.
no, because I could definitely see you being on like the announcer table and then someone call you up and then you stand up and then you rush the ring. And
Oh
you
yeah,
have
I'd
a
love
frame,
to see it.
dude, where you can
I-
literally shoulder press like 300
I did do
pounds.
wrestling school for a hot minute back when I was 30, and I had a great time doing it. Got to work with some terrific guys who've gone on to be terrific Toronto indie wrestlers. Were in that class, but it was one of those things where my stand-up was starting to take off at the time.
Yeah.
And so I kept going out on the road and then coming back, and every time I came back and started going back to class, it was like my body had reset.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So because you really have to condition your body.
Apparently, it's some of the most grueling training that you can
Well,
go
wrestling
through is
itself,
wrestling
like
school.
actual
it
wrestling,
hurts. Those bumps
is
fucking
brutal.
hurt.
Like first off, like when you're at wrestling school, you're going through the grappling basics, so you're learning legit real wrestling holds, but mixed in with that is you're training your brain and your body to go
respond.
against their natural instincts. Because to take a bump, when the guys take the bump when they fall back on the mat when they hit the mat, in wrestling, you're trained to kick your legs, kick your arms out,
Yeah, you slap it
have
like
as
judo.
many points of impact as you can have, because then it spreads out the impact across the whole body, so it's not centered on one area, so it hurts less.
Yeah.
But also it makes the bigger noise for, it's more effective
Yeah,
sounding.
that's what they teach you in like judo and jiu-jitsu. And
But
everything,
your
slap
body's
it.
instinct is to
Put your hands
curl
out.
up.
Oh, okay.
You tighten up.
I read in Mick Foley's book way back in the day that he practiced taking bumps over
From
a garbage
keys.
can
From
onto
keys.
onto the pavement. Probably some of that too.
Well, I know like Edge and those guys when they were, and like the school I was at was an offshoot of the school that like Edge and Christian went to.
Right.
And they used to make him do bump practice on the concrete.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
Which,
what he did.
Like, was unbelievable because we were doing it in the ring, and the ring alone is like not as soft as you want it to be. It's
Yeah.
No, of course.
it's canvas over plywood over a metal frame.
Yeah, because they had 3/4 inch plywood, right?
And so like when you hit that, you feel it, and so like you get your body used to it, and it becomes your instinct, and then you stop doing it for a little bit, and then you come back, and your body wants to go back
Brace
to
for
the
the
original
impact.
thing, and you have to change it up. So I'd love to do something with wrestling. I've talked to a lot of guys over the years and made some cool friends in the business.
Do you
And
ever premeditate what your? Sorry to cut you off, but you have to have like, what is your finishing move?
I'd love to
feel
see you in a
got
luchador
one.
mask too. By the way, I think
know,
that'd be fucking
I-
awesome.
But it's just a.
I would love to say that I'd have some big power finisher, but like knowing me, and
Rake
my
the
actual
eyes.
strength,
Rake the eyes.
I think I could be very convincing just with a good standing rolling senton, just a somersault onto a guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you could do the Big Show's palm chest slap too. Boom.
Yeah,
right to
no,
someone.
that would be. I think I'd keep it simple. Do something like the Eye of the Hurricane.
Okay.
Just some sort of stunner,
Fuck yeah.
3/4
Yeah.
face lock stunner.
So
kind of move.
K-Trev, Chris Benoit, good buddy or bad dude?
Bad dude. He choked his wife in the kiss.
no question.
Show your work.
Killed his
Show your
family,
work.
Yeah.
Great wrestler. Bad dude.
Bad dude.
That's great. Okay, listen, we're gonna start wrapping it up because we gotta leave for a show in a half an
Yeah.
hour. You got
We
two
do,
more shows
please.
at Cap City Comedy Club here in Austin, Texas. So what we do here at the end, K-Trev of the Dude Buddy Podcast, as you know, we check in off the top, we see how we're doing mentally, physically, emotionally, and then to get her out here, we set our intentions for the week. What do we want out of this week? We set our goals. We set what we would like out of the
Okay.
next 7 days. Okay, so Danny,
You go first.
I'll go
I went
first.
first
So
last time.
okay, well we got 3 days left in Austin, Texas. I intend to smash the fucking shows tonight. Set a nice table for K. Trevor, who was going to go out and knock it out of the park. I intend to eat some fucking barbecue. I want to get another workout in while I'm here. I want to keep reading my book in the morning. I want to still take it easy with the booze. I want to focus on that because when you're not drinking, K. Trev, you know this, right? The anxiety and everything is also everything's better. Everything's better when you're not got booze running through your system. So I intend to keep kind of eating as healthy as possible, drinking as little as possible, exercising as much as possible, both the mind and the body. Those are my intentions for the next 7 days, Danny.
Nice. My intentions going forward are to enjoy those guest spots you've been so gracious to hand me down. To make sure that they're set up good for Jared and good for you and keep the crowd in a good check. To unleash a workout on our Monday so we can destroy the whole barbecue that we decide to have, as well as I'm going to put good positive energy out there and good juju to see if I can get my name drawn for the Kill Tony show on the Monday, and just enjoy the rest of the time we have together, as well as this beautiful city that they call Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Right on. If you do get on Kill Tony, say hi to Tony for me.
I will.
It's been a minute since we've hung out, but despite our epic roast battle against each other, I've actually always gotten along with Hinchcliffe, and we bonded over our mutual love of wrestling.
Yep.
And good dude.
How many beers?
Oh, I've had way too many beers. With
Kind of on.
All right.
I've had way
Good
too
buddy.
many beers
Good
with Tony.
buddy.
Got absolutely smashed with Tony and Jeff Ross and Brian Regan one night.
That's
in
awesome.
Toronto.
That's a
trifecta.
fucking. That's a great
Just
team.
to be in the presence of Regan.
Regan's
Drink.
hilarious.
Yeah.
He is. He's one of the greatest.
He was buying drinks for everybody, and he goes around like, "I'm a little short. Do you have $5?" And
Just doing a
I'm
bit?
like, "What?" He goes, "I do this to everybody. I ask for $5, and I make money."
That's
But
funny.
yeah, he was just doing a bit. He didn't actually need the $5.
Of course not. Of course not.
It's a
What a
test.
fucking legend. Okay, so your intention.
My intentions for the week. My intentions are to have a good week. Finish off these shows strong. Sell a few more T-shirts. I got to finish painting my wife's office when we get home, and build some IKEA bookshelves. So I want to get all that done when I'm at home, and then have a successful run of shows in Tacoma next weekend.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Tacoma, go check him out. Go fucking, if you haven't seen K-Trev yet, please take the opportunity
must.
to do so. He's fucking phenomenal. That's been the Dude Buddy Pod. I've been Jared Campbell.
I've been Danny Martinello.
And
I've been K. Trevor Wilson.
Hey, Trevor Wilson, Squirrely fucking Dan, good friend. We wish you all the best. We know you're going to just keep crushing it.
Yeah.
God
bless
bless
you.
everyone. God bless us, and God bless America.